This video is to help you with the commission, tips, fees, homework assignment. So our objective is I can solve multi-step percent problem involving commission, tips, and fees. It's important that we understand commissions, tips, or fees are just a small part that you get paid, that you pay or you get paid. Like if you make commission for selling a car, you sell the car, the company is appreciative that you sold the car, and so you make a little extra money called a commission for selling that vehicle. Tips, if you're a waitress, you get paid tips, a small percentage of the meal. And fees, sometimes we have to pay extra fees and taxes, and those are all a small part. So I just want to make sure commission, tips, and fees will be your part. All right. Let's take a look at the first one. Mrs. Hamilton worked for a real estate agency. She sold a house for $175,000. The agency's fee for the sale was 4% of the sale price. Mrs. Hamilton received $4,725 of the agency's fee as her commission. All right. What percent of the agency's fee did Mrs. Hamilton receive? Round your answer to the nearest tenth of a percent. Show all work. Okay, so first of all, we take a look. Whatever she sold that price for, that's the whole. The agency's fee was 4% of that sale price. Okay, so the agency's fee will be looking for the part to start this problem. And we have to figure out what part the agency made on the sale of this house before we can figure out about Mrs. Hamilton's commission. So let's go ahead and use our equation. We have part, we don't know the amount of money the agency made, so I'll call that X. Let X equal the agency's fee. Equals, we're given our percent, we're given 4%. You have to rewrite that percent as a fraction or decimal in order to use it in the percent equation. Percent is always out of 100, so that's 4 out of 100, or 4/100. So I could put 4/100 right here, or I could write that as a decimal. 4/100 is 0.04. I'm going to choose to use a decimal, 0.04. You could have also written 4 out of 100 in place of your percent, but you have to write it as a fraction or a decimal to use it in the equation. Times whatever our whole is. Well, our whole was $175,000. I'm actually going to go ahead and use a calculator to support me on this. You can long multiply off to the side if you choose. I'm going to multiply 0.04 times 175,000, and I come up with $7,000. So the agency made $7,000 for selling this house. So that's the agency's fee, $7,000. Now, Miss Hamilton received $4,725 of the agency's fee as her commission. What percent of the agency's fee did Mrs. Hamilton receive? Round your answer to the nearest tenth of a percent. Show all work. So now this is a two-step problem. So now I know the part of the agency's fee that Miss Hamilton received for her commission was $4,725. So the part of the agency's fee that Miss Hamilton received is $4,725. They're asking what percent. We don't know the percent, so I'm going to let Y equal the percent. I don't know the percent, so I'm going to let Y be my variable now for the percent. Now we have a new whole because the part of her commission is now off of the agency's fee. What did the agency make? The agency made $7,000. So now I'm going to do part equals percent times the whole. And again, we have, this is a new second step to this. The new whole is $7,000. The part that was paid to Mrs. Hamilton is $4,725. So we have $4,725 is what percent, I'm calling it Y, of the whole that the agency made, $7,000. Now we're just going to solve for Y, solve for the percent. The operation between Y and 7,000, from 6th grade you had to solve one-step equations. The operation between the Y and the 7,000 is multiplication. We undo multiplication with division. So if we want to get Y by itself, we're going to divide by 7,000. If I'm going to divide the right-hand side by 7,000, I'm going to divide the left-hand side by 7,000 also. And you know part out of total will give you your percent. So I'm going to again pick up a calculator and I'm going to type in $4,725 divided by $7,000, the total fee. And I get this. I get 0.675. That's Y. That's written as a decimal. Now you have to convert that decimal back to a percent. Okay? To convert that back to a percent, you just multiply that by 100. So you take 0.675 times 100. That'll move that decimal point over 2 places. That's 67.5% is the commission that Mrs. Hamilton received. That's Mrs. Hamilton's money amount for her commission. Or I'm sorry, the percentage for her commission. And to me that makes sense, 67.5%. We don't even have to round. Oh, no, we don't have to round because it was already to the nearest tenth. 50% of 7,000 would be 3,500, so 4,725, 67.5% seems reasonable. So that's the first question. Now let's go on to question number 2. It says a salesperson earns commission on sales that she makes each month. The salesperson earns a 5% commission on the first $5,000 she has in sales. And the salesperson earns a 7.5% commission on the amount of her sales that are greater than $5,000. This month, the salesperson had $8,000 in sales. Find the amount of commission in dollars she earns. Okay, great. So her total, the whole, is $8,000. Now, the first $5,000 of that, she earns 5% commission. And then above that, she earns 7.5% commission. So first we'll take our $8,000, subtract off the first $5,000. You come up with $3,000. So the amount of sales she had greater than $5,000 was $3,000 that she'll earn that higher commission on. So again, we just go ahead and use our part equals percent times the whole. Okay, the commission is going to be the little part. This $5,000, that would be the whole. That's the first set of sales she has is $5,000, so that's your whole. The percent on that is 5% commission. So if we have 5% commission, we know to use our equation, we have to change that percent to a fraction or decimal. So that 5%, percent's always out of 100, so that's 5 out of 100. 500 is 0.05. I often just put it in decimal form, but if you're more comfortable with your fractions, you could also write your percent as 5 out of 100 and multiply that by 5,000. And we're looking for the part. We're looking for how much she made on that first $5,000. So that's what this is going to give us. So now I'm going to pick up my calculator. Again, you can long multiply off to the side if you want, but with percents, I often just go ahead and pick up my calculator. 0.05 times 5,000. It's just going to be a little bit of money she makes. So, because the commission is just a little bit that the company gives you to say thank you for selling those whatever she's selling. Maybe she's selling clothing. I don't know. So she made $250 on her first $5,000 in sales. Now she gets a little higher commission for the next $3,000 to get us to our total of $8,000. So again, we're going to use part equals percent times the whole. We don't know the part. This time I'll call her second part Y. Why not? The percent, I know my percent now. I make 7.5% commission. That's 7.5 out of 100. Move that decimal point over 2 places. That's 0.075. If you need on your calculator, just punch in 7.5 divided by 100. You'll get 0.075. So I'll put 0.075. Now what's the whole amount that's on? That's on the amount over 5,000. So I'll put a 3,000 in place of the whole, and then I'll just go ahead and do 0.075 times 3,000. So she actually, on that next $3,000, she made an additional $225. She makes a higher commission on that last 3,000. So to figure out what amount of commission in dollars did she earn total, we'll just take her 250 and add on her 225. 250 plus 225. That's 5, that's 7. So she made $475 in commission on her $8,000 in sales. So that's how commission works. You just get an extra little bit for selling stuff for the company. She made an extra $475 for selling that. I hope that helps.